This is round 5 of the 2014 Bridgestone 4x4 Club Challenge, based at the Heidelberg 4x4 trail and hosted by the popular 4x4 community forum. This event would prove one of the most challenging of the year. And that's mostly thanks to one man, Saki Kutsia. Saki is one of the most respected old hands in the 4x4 competition game, and he was tasked with putting together some challenging 4x4 obstacles for the Bridgestone event. And did Saki deliver? The teams who arrived in a smarty box of 4x4 hardware braved the cold June morning with some coffee and breakfast. After applying the sponsor stickers, it was time for the registration and driver's briefing, where the teams were duly warned of Saki's mischievous plans. The vehicles were subjected to the customary scrutineering to check for safety and legality. And once this process was completed, it was time to get down and dirty with the Heidelberg 4x4 trail. Our first customers for the day are Dani Tate and Vilma Faree in an air-powered Suzuki SJ413. Obstacle 1 is a tough, rocky test with a catch. The competitors have to spot 2 man-made objects in the obstacle to score full marks. The catch is, they're only told about this after the obstacle is completed. Dani is an old hand at this, so shouldn't have any problems here. And true to form, Dani gets through the obstacle with no penalties. Now just for the tricky question part.
Two main man-made anything in the obstacle.
In the obstacle, except for the poles.
Yeah, except for the poles, that's standard.
Arrows.
How many?
There were 2.
That's,
Like it, eh?
that's 100.
Oh, thank you very much.
much.
Well spotted, Vilma. Let's see if Jeep Wrangler co-driver Freddie Siebert is also as hawk-eyed. But wait, he's got a cunning plan. He's guiding driver Corne van der Merwe from outside the Rubicon. Corne deftly pilots the Rubicon through the obstacle and picks up no penalties. But now it's time for the flink-dunk part.
So there's this marks.
What marks?
Just paint.
Well, arrows.
Arrows.
How many?
2.
Right, that's 100.
The Jeep team also scores 100 points here. Obstacle 2 consists of more and more rocks. The trick at this obstacle is to choose the correct line and to subsidize that line with just the right amount of momentum. First up is Werner and Arno Skarp in another one of those Jeep Wranglers with more locking bits than the Zonnewater Prism. With Arno skipping over the rocks like a mountain goat to show Dad Werner the way, the Jeep heads up slowly. Well, that was hardly a challenge for the Jeep and its live axles and lockers. Our next customers are Eduard Ruert and Manny de Freitas. On the 4x4 community forum, Manny is known as Mad Manny. That's because he believes very steadfastly that a Toyota Fortuner is the only real 4x4 in the world. Today though, Mad Manny is the co-driver in a Mitsubishi Triton. No wonder that Manny's running up the mountain instead of driving with Eduard, who is tackling the obstacle at a fair rate of knots. Geez, Eduard, was that a mountain goat running up the mountain ahead of you? Or was it Manny?
Manny de Freitas, but he's a rookie. Was said so on TV.
Obstacle 3 is another rocky affair. But although this obstacle is littered with big rocks, there's another test. We ride with Eduard and Manny again, but this time Manny has to ride in the Triton, connecting the dots along the way. Down they go, as Manny goes mad with the pencil. He has to hurry up though. They're almost through the obstacle. And he gets the job done in the nick of time.
Okay.
But he'd missed a few dots along the way, and the team score only 65 points. Oh dear, only 65 points? What happened there, Eruard?
It was a great obstacle. The only problem was the drawing of the Bridgestone logo, which my co-driver sort of missed grade 1. He did that 3 times, so he had a bit of difficulty going through the circle.
Henry Barnes and Franz Skierpers are next to tackle this obstacle, and they're riding in a Suzuki Jimny. Let's ride with them and find out if Franz's drawing skills are any better than Mad Manny's. Franz draws his way through the obstacle, and with a bit of a push and a shove, the little Jimny makes it through. And that smile, Franz?
That's like in school, easy. Easy.
Oh dear, Franz. For an easy test, there seems to be quite a few mistakes there. And there's some more. In the end, the Jimny team scored just 30 points on this obstacle. I'd ask for my school fees to be refunded if I were you, Franz. This is obstacle 4. It's a short one, but there's a nasty looking drop in the middle of it. And this is Philip Jacobs and Javi Nel in a Suzuki Grand Vitara. Let's see how the GV handles that steep drop off. Inside the cab, Philip is wearing his race face, obviously ready for anything.
Right, nou kom jy. Right, hou reguit. Reguit. Hou op.
Oh well, after all that, the GV had absolutely no problem dealing with that drop. We join Philip and Javi in the GV again, as they show us what Obstacle 5 is all about. And it looks to be a tough one. Here, the teams have to navigate their way down a slippery, muddy business, lined with narrow gates and deep ditches that send wheels skyward. And in a final twist, the drivers must get their 4x4s through a tight left turn, up a steep embankment, and through a gate. And that's no easy task, as Philip demonstrates here. The tiny Suzuki Jimny of Andre and Nico Kleinhans should theoretically do rather well here, thanks to its diminutive dimensions. Andre takes an interesting line through the middle section and keeps the wheels on the ground, which is a good thing. So far so good, now just that last hurdle. Unfortunately, the Jimny recorded 2 stops on the way down, but that's 90 points in the bank. Aha! And here's defending Bridgestone champion Danny Daniels in his Jeep Grand Cherokee, partnered by Tiens Kortenhoven, who's out on the track. Danny aims the Grand Cherokee's nose down the slippery hill. The Jeep's rear wheels each record some Voyager miles on the way down, but so far, all is good. Jeep is slipping, but somehow Danny manages to bring it back in line and through the gates without hitting a pole. Looks like he's done this before, doesn't it? Obstacle 6 is a steep and rutted descent through those narrow gates. And here is Arno Kombrink with wife Louise offering moral support.
Papi, vat hierdie eentjie.
Down they go with the big Nissan. And oh dear, Arno's approach is a tad speedy, and he knocks one pole and then another one. So that's 50 penalty points, leaving the Kombrunks with only 50 points in the back pocket. Colleen Steen and Ria van Sale are next to tackle obstacle 6, and they're in a tiny Suzuki Jimny. In theory, they should be able to drive sideways through those narrow gates. Colleen's very cautious approach earns them a 5-point penalty for a stop. But the ladies get through the obstacle without hitting anything or incurring any more penalties. So that's 95 points earned. Petrus van Blerk and Marco Ayers are next in a Mitsubishi Triton. While Marco is waiting to give directions at the tricky descent, Petrus manages to hit the pole at the very first gate. On the steep downhill, the Triton starts sliding and takes out another pole. Petrus makes it through the rest of the obstacle okay, but that's also just 50 points in the bank. This is obstacle 7, and here the teams have some choices to make. We join Colleen Steen and Ria van Sale in the Jimny as the marshal explains all the options. There's the way easy climb on one side that no one bothered about. There is the middle climb that will earn teams 55 points if they complete the climb. And 100 points were up for grabs on the most difficult climb. There goes the Jimny.
Mooi, Colleen.
And the ladies score a solid 55 points there. And here are the Triton lads again, and not surprisingly, they are going for the more difficult 100-pointer. They make it up okay, manage the turn, but then... In all the excitement, the two lads managed to completely forget the last gate and drove straight past it at a great speed. So despite making it up the most difficult track, they score only 65 points. Our last customers at this obstacle are Martin and Dion Viljoen in a Toyota Hilux, and they take, yep, you've guessed it, the most difficult option. And they do it at quite a speed too. And they clear the obstacle with full marks. Well done, lads. This is obstacle 8, and it's one of the tougher tests of the day. Here's Johanna Marinda Lotz in a Jeep Wrangler Rubicon. The obstacle starts with a descent, followed up by a very tight turn at the bottom, which includes a rather large hump of earth. And then a last climb through a narrow gate. And it's a slippery climb too, judging by the Rubicon's open diff performance there. This is Ivan Lerm and Jaco de Jager. Ivan won the Suzuki Club event, so he's just here to get some practice in ahead of the finals. Despite the Jimny's tighter turning circle, he doesn't make that tight turn and has to reverse. Oh dear, he stalls the Jimny on the hump. Next, a pole dies a quick death, and oh crikey, it's not getting any better for Ivan, as the Jimny grinds to a spinning halt and then stalls. He goes again, and just makes it. This is looking like a tough one. This is obstacle 9, and as you'll soon see, this seemingly easy peasy climb is not so easy peasy at all. We ride with 2012 Bridgestone Challenge runners-up Flip Kotze and Herman Steen. Flip gasses the Suzuki, which doesn't have lockers, but it ain't going up there. Flip tries to reverse the Jimny down the uncomfortably steep slope, but the Suzuki ends up sliding skew. Since there is now a tree ominously close to the Jimny, the marshal set about recovering the stricken little 4x4. In the cabin, Flip sums up his feelings about the track.
Sakkie se
Flip, wat kan ek sê my maat?
And finally, after much winching, the Jimny is out of danger and through the obstacle. But it really isn't a happy day for Flippin' Awesome at all. And here's the Silver Navara again, manned and, well, womaned by Arno and Louise Kombrink. Arno lets rip, but doesn't get very far. He tries a little bit of this and a little bit of that, but no cigar. Eventually he reverses some and tries a new line, but Puppy is still not making an impression on this obstacle. And eventually, Arno throws in the towel and makes a retreat. This, ladies and gentlemen, is obstacle 10, and it's a tough one. If there were no poles planted on this rutted climb, the driver could choose the easiest line, but Sakkie Kutsia had gone and planted his poles in the most inappropriate places, turning a tricky climb into a very difficult affair. And there goes the Navara. And there stops the Navara, with more than one of its wheels clocking plenty of airtime. Arno just can't get enough momentum going there, but finally he gets going, and oh boy, he sends that front wheel high into the sky. But at least he's made it through. Well done.
Yes, dat was cool.
And here's our next bakkie for a close shave, and it's the Toyota Hilux of Martin and Dion Viljoen. They use a different line for that big twister and get through, hitting one pole along the way. So that's 75 points. Never mind, in the cabin the Viljoen seem rather happy about this turn of events. Sven Opperman and Nadine Bosch are in another Jeep Wrangler Rubicon, but a 4-door Unlimited this time. Remember, the Rubies have front and rear lockers, so the Jeep should be able to idle up here, no matter if some of the wheels are airborne. Stopping won't help much though, and in the cabin, Nadine seems slightly, well, worried. But that was too much left, and the Jeep hits the pole there. It climbs through the rest of the obstacle without any issues and scores 75 points. And so we get to the last 4x4 of the day, and ironically maybe, it's another Suzuki Jimny. It's Andre Kleinhans and groupie Shannon in the passenger seat. But oh crikey, the open diff Jimny doesn't make it through the first twister. With a bit more right foot, he makes it through. And nope, the Suzuki stops again. He tries again and gets further, but still no jackpot. Andre rolls the Jimny back quite a considerable way and then lets rip. And oh boy, does he let rip. With one pole killed dead and one cameraman due to receive trauma counseling, Andre is up and over. And with that, the fat lady had sung her song. At each event, sponsor Bridgestone awards a 2,000 Rand environmental prize to the most environmentally friendly team. Werner and Arno Skarp removed a snare they found next to the track, winning them the prize here in Heidelberg. Now these teams don't go through all the blood, sweat and tears just for bragging rights. The 3 podium finishers earn a spot in the 2014 Bridgestone 4x4 Club Challenge Final. On this event, 3rd place wins a mean green recovery kit, courtesy of Opposite Lock, and 2nd place bags a set of Opposite Lock driving lights. The winner of the event gets a 10,000 Rand tyre voucher from main sponsor Bridgestone. The overall prizes will be decided at the final in November. A 20,000 Rand gift voucher from Opposite Lock will go to 2nd place overall. But the big carrot is the main prize, a Conqueror camping trailer worth 50,000 Rand. But back to the results of the 4x4 community event. And in 3rd place, Danny Daniels and Tiens Kortenhoven in the Jeep Grand Cherokee. In 2nd place, Corne van der Merwe and Freddie Siebert in the Jeep Wrangler Rubicon, and completing a Jeep whitewash for the day, Werner and Arno Skarp in another Rubicon. The Skarps clearly had a perfect 4x4 kind of day, winning both the environmental prize and winning the event with an outstanding score of 950 points. Catch us next week, same time, same place. Till then. The 4x4 Club Challenge was brought to you by Bridgestone.